Please join me. Make welcome him again as he comes, yes, to the panel. Please put your hands together. Put your hands together. Thank you. And a round of applause for yourself. Come on, it is Independence Day, and Nigeria is 65. So many persons really do not really care about the age, but you should care about it. We are moving on. All right. I think I need a chair. Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Saz and Ma. Thank you for being part of this panel. So very quickly, we'll get into it. Speaking on the matter of ease of doing business, nobody can lament about that, but today is not the day of lament, like we have said unanimously. Being a person who plays in the private sector here in Warri, you have been in the organized private sector for over a decade, playing a managerial role. We want to get to know from you how, first of all, do you think that there is ease of doing business in Delta? Playing in one of the top marine companies here in Delta State in marine industry, do you think there is ease of doing business? And if yes or no, how do you think the government can create an enabling environment, primarily for your sector and also for other sectors, whether in infrastructure, whether in health and whatnot? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really a delight to be here and really to hear all that has been said. I see a lot of opportunities. Where there are problems, there are opportunities, and that is what I've heard. And I want to also thank Dr. Samuel for talking about the blue economy in Lagos State. I work in the marine sector, and we've been in logistics for quite a while. I mean, well, since 1956, operating in Nigeria and in Delta State. So we say that we're older than Nigeria, and we've been here and we've seen it. Over the years, we used to transport granules, cotton cake, palm oil, cement from along the Niger-Benue rivers, food products, and you go as far as Barrow, you go towards Cameroon, taking cotton produce, all those through those areas. But then you've seen the debt in those kind of things. Those things don't go on a lot again. Of course, there's been diversification to oil. And I'm glad that our last speaker, the chairman of CARISA, has brought us back to say agriculture is one of the mainstays here. To come directly to government participation with the private sector, there are several ways. And so I'm going to give two models that I've seen work in Nigeria. One of that is what you call the PPP model, which is based on concession. A lot of us are familiar with these things, but we don't really know how it works. Something that is very popular and we hear in Nigeria is the Lekki Deep Sea Port. How many of us know that that is a concession agreement? It's actually a 45 years concession agreement between the private sector and then the government, with Lagos State owning some shares in it, the Nigerian Ports Authority owning some, and the private sector. So that is something that we can key in. You see, government cannot do everything. Government is supposed to enable, which is the ease of doing business. Yes. If I have a climate that is easy, that I invest in and able to account, I can repatriate the funds that I bring in. And then it's easy for me to diversify or reinvest my funds as I want to. Then it becomes easier. I become more comfortable. A private sector wants to, the whole reason why a private sector will get into business is to make profits.
Yes.
Agreed?
Yes.
So I have to be guaranteed that whatever I put in, I would have that money back. I remember when Emirates was having problems with the Nigerian government. They had brought in their aircraft and were not able to repatriate their dollars back. There was that issue. But then if there's guarantee, I know that has been solved now, but there's guarantee that I will be able to get my money invested back, then I'm able to do some kind of thing. So we can have that, which is the build, operate, manage,
Yes.
because I must say, I don't think government, you would agree with me, has a good grasp of management. Management is for private, it's a private sector thing, you know. And I like when he said that government should do what government knows how to do best, and others should do what they know how to do best. So in that kind of model, you have a PPP concession agreement where government gives concession, gives opportunity to the citizens, the private institutions to run those infrastructures, manage. And when they manage, they are able to transfer based on whatever is agreeable. The Apapa port, the Tinkan port is done. The terminals are managed by private individuals. I've said the example of the Lekki Deep Sea Port. Yeah. You also note the example of the toll gates. Yes. You know, the Lekki, the Lekki Bridge, the Lekki Road. It was a concession agreement where the private individual was allowed to build the roads and then toll it. I mean, I don't know how many of us remember the Lagos-Ibadan tolls at that time. Those roads were good until, well, it went the other way. So you have that. So the government can actually have a model where you call the I-Development Management Initiative, which is being done by the federal government at the moment, where the state government can say, these roads, what can we do? Do we have a private individual or a private company that can actually look at this road? Let's give concessions. Let's ease the burden of us. And I'm sure every citizen will be glad. The amount of money you will spend going to the mechanics, your shock absorber is off, this is off. I mean, you would have to save on that. The second model which I would propose is what I call the joint venture agreement. Yes. And this speaks directly to ease of doing business, where the government stays as a regulator. The government provides the land, for example, in the case of agriculture, provides the land and says, we're going to give you the land, we're going to give you this concession, we're going to partner with you to ensure that this works. So they give the regulatory backing. To be specific to my sector, it's very interesting. I had a meeting with the Honorable Commissioner, and I said, there's something that is fantastic about Delta, which is the water. In places like Florida, I mean, I don't see why Delta State is not like Florida, for example. It is all around water. And you go to places like that, you go to Miami, you see the economy. You go to New Orleans, you see the motorboat show, the yearly motorboat show. It is fantastic and it's beautiful. It speaks to transportation. There is a community that is forgotten. I've been on that water to Burutu before, and I saw that there is no connectivity. Yes. And you see people who want to build houses, they have to get sand, they have to get cement, they have to get everything. How do these people live? So there's an economy there where people even need to get agricultural produce from those areas. The fishes that have been harvested, there have to be places where they can keep them. There have to be a transportation system that moves around. So those are things that we can get into. Those are areas that the government can partner and say, look, the private sector will give you an environment, an available environment. We'll set up areas where jetties can be constructed, and we'll give you that concession. That is happening in other states in this country. Why can't we do it in a state that is surrounded by water? We are blessed with water. We are blessed with the airports. We are blessed with the seaports. We are blessed with air. You know, so this can be done, and it should be tapped into.
Sure. Round of applause for her. Very insightful submission. So we'll get right to you. So she just opened the cap of how I like this conversation to be. So she mentioned a model that has worked in Nigeria, the PPP model, the public-private partnership, and there are different models under that. There is build, own, operate, and a couple of others. Can you kindly share with us some of which of those models are available in the options in Delta State that, you know, a lot of people are not aware? There are business owners in Delta State who do not even know that they can do contract with the government. You know, there is business to business, there is business to customer, there is business to government. A lot of people do not even know that business to government exists. What are the options there are in Delta State that people in the private sector can parley with?
Well, first of all, I thank you for your insights. I'm very sure that everybody's aware that if you have an idea or a proposal, you write to government, and if it aligns with the agenda of the government at that particular time, they would actually want to partner with you, like the joint venture. I know of some people personally who are in collaboration with the government in different areas of the business. ICT is one of them. So the governor or the government, let me put it that way, is always people friendly, and I know that they want to partner with you. Once your ideas is structured or detailed and presented to the government, if it's the agenda of that year, because whether you like it or not, government manages resources. It's not every idea you jump into. It's not every initiative you want to take. There are some that takes priority, scale of preference in economics, right? So if the idea at that particular time meets demand or needs of the people, that essential, then of course, governments will want to jump into it and partner with you in a joint venture. That's what I believe anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Round of applause for the Honorable. Thank you. Mr. Charles Freeborn, please, in the technology space, in IT, and we know you personally. We know that you are leading a change in Delta State. Our state is known for a high level of internet fraud engagement, although Dr. Shegun Manuel wouldn't want to mention, but I'll mention. And you are working to change the narrative. I remember from your last, one of your conversations online, you talked about how that while you were trying to onboard people for your Google development program, some parents didn't believe that you can gather people in a place and they are not in an HK. Also, there are young people, over 2,000 in number, and they are all about tech. So how can technology be leveraged to enhance, citizen engagement and participation in governance?
All right. Hello. Okay, can you hear me? All right, good afternoon, everyone. I want to first express my profound gratitude to Pastor Tubore. Soul City is like home to me, so let's give Pastor Tubore a big hand. And also excited to be here with these highly esteemed panelists. So I play I'm more like in the tech sector, right? And just like all the speakers have said, and just like she mentioned, there's a limit to what the state government can actually do. So I'm going to probably take the conversation from my own experience of getting to lead a community. So just from a high-level perspective, I lead a community of techies, software developers, designers, creatives, basically everything that has to do with technology. And I realized over time that, one of the challenges we have with worries, first and foremost, stuffs around Yahoo, fraud, basically. So let's just say it as it is, right? You go to hotels, for example, and it's really booked by young people, basically teenagers, filling up hotel rooms and whatnot. And then in getting to do something with these young people, I realized that it is based on the information that they have been exposed to over time that seem to propagate this whole thing around fraud within, not just Delta anymore, it's like a Nigerian thing. And you agree with me that just like they will say that and they don't make, there's no advertisement for Gary or Bomo, right? Neither is there an ad for Yahoo or fraud. Nobody's going to call you to come do fraud and whatnot. And so we realized that if these young people are exposed to the other side of what they can actually do with the internet.
With the same thing that they...
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let me start with, I'm trying to bring everything together. So let me start with this first one. So several years ago, police raided an apartment where young guys were doing fraud. One of them that was picked and got to the station was the one that had a laptop, right? And when the policeman checked the guy's laptop, he saw that this guy was doing designs, like he could literally create all kind of fraudulent designs, right? That he could actually use to defraud people, right? Okay. And so the policeman pulled him aside and said, "How much do these guys pay you?" He told the policeman, and then he said something to him like, "You're a very foolish person. That if you have these skill sets that you can use to design fraudulent stuff for these guys to do whatever it is that they do, don't you think that if you channel that same energy into trying to do designs for legit organizations, your life would be different?" And so he literally just gave him the laptop and said, "Get out of this place. I don't ever want to see you there." That's actually a testimony, because maybe it's the guy's mother's prayers that helped him. Today, he's one of the leading branding guys around Nigeria and even across Africa. And I said that to say this, that getting to know that there's a limit to what the government can actually do, we decided to do something different. I think I'd probably like to share here, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'd probably like to share here that Dr. Shegun around the hub. And I think I'm excited to share for the first time in public that we're actually building a world-class hub here in the city of Warri.
Oh, wow. A round of applause for that. It's an amazing
And it's going
initiative.
to-
In a city where there are lounges launching every other night.
And the reason is this. I'll share. The reason is this. A world-class hub, and you can put me on the spot because I think I'm well traveled, well exposed. The hub is going to cater for developers, designers, creatives. We're going to have a content and podcast studio in that hub. I actually shared some videos with some pictures. I don't know if they can project them. And the reason is this. We have a lot of young people in Delta states, right? And we believed, and I thought to myself that we cannot keep on complaining, just like Pastor Tuberi said, that it's not just about dear governor. Now it's actually dear citizen. We can't continue complaining about the fact that the government needs to do this, needs to do that, needs to do that. And so we decided to we're setting up this hub to ensure that we have a place where young people who, instead of looking at the next Yahoo boy or a fraudulent person and is inspiring to be like that, we're setting up a physical space where he can be inspired, getting to know that there are individuals who can actually use the internet to make legitimate fund, set up businesses and whatnot, and then be valuable to themselves and to the society at large.
Thank you. Round of applause for Mr. Charles Freeborn. Great initiative and great effort. So we come to Viking Carol over there. We know you as one of the most concerned Nigerians. Your passion in trying to communicate what should be, it's highly emulatable. So I'd like for you to share with us, what advice would you put out there or suggest on this meeting today on how the government of Delta State can effectively engage with citizens when it comes to engagement and also players in the private sector, which you are part of?
Thank you very much. Like PT said, Pastor Tobori said at the beginning of the meeting and said, we're allowed to air our opinions on what we think can be done. These are some of my opinions, and you rightly asked. First off, there was a meeting we held here, and I mentioned something. I said, education. I think Dr. Manuel said the same thing. Shegun Manuel said the same thing. Education, education, education. If you look back and historically, a lot of the degeneracy we are seeing today, I want to go, these alphabet people or what not you have, whether you like them or not, there was a conscious effort. What we are seeing now didn't start today. Go back 40, 50 years. They started infiltrating our education. And Dr. Shegun Manuel said something, our education is not what it used to be. I personally, I think if you are 40 and above, it's almost too late for you, or it's too late for you. That's my opinion. The government should focus on this, like you tech hub and all, focus on the younger ones.
Okay.
Let them try to manage the older ones from 40 and above. But if you want real change...
But sorry, there used to be adult education programs in Delta State, in Warri. We don't have...
We still have them. I've seen some, but I think that push is no longer there.
Yes.
But this is my opinion, and from where I stand, I really don't think 40 and above, they're almost cast like stone. There is really nothing you can do. So it's to manage them. But if the government wants real change, our educational system needs to be rejigged. Not just going for get certificates. Vocational studies.
Technical education.
Technical education. I saw one podcast recently. They were saying, I think it was Dickin Ogomera said that you want to leave the country, or one of the speakers, want to leave the country 4 years ago. You are still here, you have not learned anything and all that. Some of these people, even if you want to go abroad now, I saw a podcast that said in the US, they're going to be needing over 200 mechanics, welders, about 1 million. They are not even talking about the same US that is pushing AI, that they need all these skills, and it's still going to fall back here to Nigeria. Then you also ask, what about how can the public sector, private sector,
yes,
partner with the government? First off, government, I think, should have less role in these things. Build infrastructure. That's what you can do. Make policies to actually guide people through these things. There's a documentary I saw about Dubai. Is Dubai or the Emirates? One of them. One of the sheikhs was saying something that was like 40 years ago. They came to him and like, okay, he had a vision of just build. They are okay. We are building these things. This thing, economics advisors. We are building. The guy was adamant, build, they will come. Build, they will come. Build, they will come. Look at what we are seeing today.
All right.
So I think that will work. Let government invest in infrastructure, yeah, in education. One of the speakers said about these are people on the river, how they swim. In the Olympics alone, why do America and Russia get a lot of medals? In the Olympics alone, swimming competition has over 50 medals.
Oh, wow.
I guess people don't know that. So your football is just 1 medal. In swimming, they have over 50 medals. Now, we may not be able to compete with them now. Give it 10 years. Train this man that water is already accustomed to him. Teach him, that's the education. And see how he will excel there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Finally, so we're just going to go around, but I'd like the Honorable to speak first. So speaking on incentives, the last speaker talked about incentives that will encourage the private sector, to really want to play with government and also do certain things that they would like to do. What incentives does this government, have in place? Whether we, just run us through maybe like 1 or 2 that that are there to encourage private sector participation.
Sorry, you didn't clear that point. Could you make it clear?
So what incentives are there for this, by this government to encourage private sector participation in public-private partnerships? So for instance, we have tax cuts, we have a couple of other things that can encourage people to come say, okay, we are willing to do this with the government.
Okay. Now, in any government, there's It really just comes down to two things. One, policy to drive the environment that would foster the business. And two, which is usually the most thing, loans for capital. Now, I am very fully aware that these two things are being implemented to some degree. Now, it might not work for you as a business owner, you might not feel the effect, but they are in existence, most especially the loan aspect. So, I'm not a businessman, I'm a politician, and I have my own role to play. So I can't go deep exactly into the details of the loan requirements and the policies for business-oriented programs, because it's not really my field. But I can say that they are in place. It's just to what degree that you're feeling the effects for it. All right?
Thank you, sir. Your final thoughts for today?
My thoughts would be that if the government is ready to work and to guarantee the private sector that they are protected, there is no multiple taxation, and they build a business case to showcase value, at the end of the day, it's going to be a win-win situation where the government wins, the private sector wins. At the end of the day, the beneficiaries will be happy that they have systems and infrastructures that are working, and they don't need to look anywhere, or as it were, jackpot from Warri or Delta State to other states, because all that they are looking for is actually here.
Thank you, sir. Your thoughts on what do you think can be put in place by this government to better aid the work that you are doing in the private sector?
Okay, I would like to say this thing about the fact that talent is actually evenly distributed, but the opportunities are not. By that, I mean that a developer in Warri, a developer in California, a developer in Lagos, they're all basically doing the same thing, but then the opportunities are actually limited, maybe by virtue of the fact that we are located here. So one of the things I would think for my key takeaway to, rather message to the government would be creating an enabling environment. And for me, in my industry, the enabling environment is actually electricity, right? Electricity, because the first time I was going to have an interview with Google, the only place, okay, this thing is being transmitted, the only place I was sure I was going to have light to participate in that interview was somebody else's house. And I had to, do you understand? So I don't have to expose personal identity. That was the only place I could guarantee, because power, like one of the speakers said, is a major issue. So create the enabling environment. We're setting up the hub, for example. We already have a dedicated budget just to set up solar panels alone, to power up that place. It's over 15 million naira, right? And we're considering it. Why? Because we've thought about using diesel, for example. It's literally not sustainable. So for me, create the enabling environment. Let's handle power, and then just give us, I think I could probably also add something around clusters. And round up with this. In China, there was something they did. They relocated some people from some particular region and just moved the innovators, people who were actually doing tech, into that region and gave them low rental cost, right? So, for example, we can say, let's not use Okumaba Avenue, somewhere around the portrait, and say, okay, this is for tech innovators, and so long as whatever it is you're doing is solid and is valid, and then we can have a cut across the rental cost, for example, and then you just find out that we'll just be performing magic, and that is actually my goal. That's my vision.
Thank you. Can we celebrate all our panelists for today? Come on. Celebrate them as they return to their seats.